I'm 25M, and I've been seeing this woman, Laura, 50F, for around 4 months now. We met at a coffee shop in town. She noticed the book I was reading, we started chatting about it, and it led to grabbing sandwiches nearby. She's got this sharp wit, and we've had some decent times together, like going on easy hikes where we'd pack snacks and talk for hours, or showing me how to make these old family recipes at her house, laughing over messed up attempts at baking bread. The age difference didn't really faze me early on. I just saw it as two people clicking without all the usual drama. Maybe because my last couple of dates with girls my age fizzled out quick over dumb stuff like mismatched schedules. But things have taken a turn lately that's making everything feel off. It started small, with her gifting me clothes that seemed outdated, like stiff collared shirts and wool pants that look like they're from the 90s, saying they bring out something special in me, and insisting I try them on right there in her living room, adjusting the cuffs while smiling in this nostalgic way. Then she began planning dates around places she went with her ex-husband, who passed away 5 years ago in a car crash after they were married for 20 years. Last week, it ramped up. She pulled out one of his actual suits from her closet, helped me button it up while commenting on how it fits just like it did on him, even spraying a bit of his old cologne on the collar that smelled musty and made me sneeze. We went to this Italian restaurant they used to celebrate anniversaries at, where she ordered the same pasta dish and wine, reminiscing about their laughs there as if I was sharing the memory, like pointing to the corner booth and saying how they'd linger over dessert, making me nod along awkwardly while the waiter gave us side glances. I sat there feeling like a mannequin, out of place in the stiff fabric that itched my skin, and wondering if other people noticed how forced it all seemed. Well, I brought up how it made me uncomfortable, like I was standing in for a ghost, and it took away from us building our own thing. She got emotional and said it helps her feel connected to him through me, that I'm bringing light back into her life after so much darkness. Now she's talking about a weekend trip to the beach town where they honeymooned, wanting me to wear more of his stuff like his favorite hat and sandals she kept. I've been dodging her calls a bit, staring at my phone during work breaks, and feeling this mix of guilt and relief when I let it go to voicemail. But she texts nonstop, saying she needs me, and I'm the only one who understands her pain. My roommate says it's straight up creepy, and I should bail before it gets worse. But I feel guilty knowing she's still hurting from a loss, replaying in my head how she cries about being alone. It bugs me looking back at how it went from normal fun to me basically role-playing as a dead guy on dates, second-guessing if I let her on by not speaking up sooner. Reddit, what do I do about my relationship with a woman twice my age that's getting super weird with her dressing me like her dead ex-husband and recreating their dates? Break up gently, talk it out, or is something else to handle this without making it worse? Update 1. After I posted about my 4-month thing with Laura starting out relaxed with things like trail walks and home-cooked dinners, but shifting to her buying me retro clothes and setting up dates that echo her old ones with her late ex-husband, like suiting me up and stuff for their anniversary spot, and chatting about their memories over the same meal while I sat there fidgeting in the unfamiliar fabric. I decided to sit down and talk to her about it, but the whole conversation spiraled, showing more of her attachment to the past and leaving me feeling even more trapped and confused, like I was sinking deeper into something I didn't sign up for. We got together at her place last weekend, lounging on her living room couch with those thick photo albums from her marriage spread out on the coffee table. Pictures of her and him at various spots, flipping open as we talked. The room smelling faintly of that same old cologne she dabbed on me before. I started by saying how the clothes and date setups are starting to bother me, giving details like the time she had me try on his leather jacket for a drive to the lake they used to picnic at, where she'd point out benches and say things like how they'd sit there watching sunsets, making me feel like I was supposed to respond as him instead of just enjoying the view. She listened at first, but then defended it, explaining it's her way of processing the grief and that I have these little traits that remind her of him, like the way I stir my coffee clockwise or smile at dumb jokes the same lopsided way. And she thinks it's a sign we're connected somehow, not replacing him, but weaving the good parts of her past into our present to help her heal and feel less alone. I pushed back gently, saying I get she's hurting, but I want our time together to be about building new stuff, not reliving someone else's life, and suggested we try fresh ideas like a new hiking trail instead of their old favorites, or even just a movie night without the backstory. She paused, fiddling with a photo edge, and countered that those recreations make her happy, and if I cared, I'd go along with it, getting teary as she shared more about how empty the house felt after he died, with nights where she'd sit alone staring at his empty chair, and how meeting me felt like a second chance at joy. I tried to explain again that it makes me feel used like a stand-in rather than her actual boyfriend, but she turned it around, asking if I was pulling away because of the age thing or if I didn't take her feelings seriously, which left me stumbling over words and eventually saying I needed time to think, hugging her awkwardly before heading out. It left me rattled, Pacing my apartment later that night, thinking about how normal things like her cooking his favorite recipes for me now seem tied to this whole ghost routine, and wondering if I'm overreacting or if it's as off as it feels. My best friend came over with takeout and said it sounds like she's not over him at all, and I need to set hard boundaries. Maybe take a break to clear my head, but when I texted her that I wanted some space, she flooded my phone with messages about not abandoning her like everyone else has, begging for one more date to prove it's not weird. Family I told over a call thinks it's time to walk away before it messes with my head more. But part of me wonders if she's just grieving in a messed up way and needs support instead of me bailing. The whole thing's got this eerie vibe now. Like every time we're together, it's half about me and half about a ghost. And I catch myself double-checking texts for hidden meanings. Should I give it one more try to explain clearly? Or is this a clear sign to end it and move on? Update 2. Tying back to my relationship with Laura that soured over 4 months. From easygoing stuff like shared meals and park outings to her pushing old clothes on me and setting updates that copy her ones with her dead ex-husband, like the suit dinner where she relived their memories out loud while I tried to steer the talk to us. The couch talk where she defended it as healing, shared more grief stories, and suggested more recreations only made me pull back further. And last week, snooping out of growing worry uncovered something that took the weirdness to a whole new level, shaking me up big time and making me question everything from the start. I went to her place to grab some things I'd left behind, like a jacket and a book, while she was out running errands, figuring it'd be quick and avoid another heavy talk. But as I rummaged in the hall closet, I spotted more of his clothes with little notes attached that had my name scribbled on them, like she was cataloging them for me specifically. That creeped me out enough to look further, and under her bed in the bedroom, I found this locked box I pried open with a hairpin from her dresser. Inside were clippings of my hair from those times she'd playfully trim my ends during lazy afternoons on her porch, printed photos of me with his face poorly photoshopped over mine, next to her in wedding pics, and stacks of receipts for sessions with some online psychic who'd been telling her I was his reincarnation based on stuff like our similar birth dates, eye color, and even the way I walk. There were handwritten notes from her detailing resurrecting rituals, like lighting specific candles at the spots we'd visited and whispering phrases during our dates. Plus bank statements showing she'd blown thousands from her inheritance on this psychic's guidance, packages to confirm and activate the soul transfer with me as the perfect vessel. When she got home and walked into the kitchen to find me sitting at the table with the box open, the room dead, quiet except for the fridge humming, she froze and then started explaining in a rush, saying she'd found this psychic right after the accident when she was at her lowest, desperately scrolling forums for comfort, and the readings convinced her soul's cycle back, with me matching every sign from his laugh to his favorite coffee order. So the clothes and dates were her way to awaken him inside me, even incorporating my hair into private ceremonies she'd do late at night with incense and old photos to bind us. I told her how violated and scared it made me feel, like I was a prop in some delusional game rather than a real person she cared about, and asked why she'd keep something this big hidden, pointing out specifics like how during our dates she'd slip in little tests, like asking if I remembered a trip I couldn't possibly know about. She hesitated, wiping her eyes, and said it was all out of love, that the psychic promised it'd work if I just went along, and begged me to try one more ritual to see if it clicked, insisting we're destined because of the signs like how we met on their wedding anniversary. I backed away, saying this was too much and I couldn't be part of it, grabbing my stuff and leaving while she followed me to the door, pleading not to ruin what could be magical. It had me shaking on the drive home, thinking about all the times I fell off but brushed it aside like the cologne that always gave me headaches or her staring at me during quiet moments as if waiting for something to change. Friends I called right after said to block her and consider police if she shows up, injecting some humor about me being a budget ghostbuster, but with this underlying worry if she'd escalate. My mind's racing. Is there a safe way to help her see reality without getting dragged back in? Or do I just cut all ties and run? Update 3. This is the wrap-up after my 4-month fling with Laura went from chill hangouts like park walks to her dressing me in her late ex's clothes and recreating their dates, like the anniversary meal where she acted like I was him, the talk where she called it healing, followed by finding the box of my hair clippings and psychic notes claiming I'm his reincarnation, with her spending money on rituals to bring him back, through me and the kitchen confrontation where she begged for one. More try. Those discoveries pushed me to end it. And over the next few weeks, things settled in a way that feels like a fresh start, though not without some loose ends and time to process that. I stayed firm and didn't respond to her pleas, changing my number and routine to avoid run-ins, like switching coffee shops and telling work not to let her in, even looping in my boss about potential awkward visits. Friends stepped up huge, crashing at my place for support with pizza nights where we talk it out and laugh off the absurdity, like joking about starting a weird ex's club. And they even helped me report the weird stuff to authorities just in case, which led to a wellness check on her. She ended up reaching out to her family, who got her into grief counseling to deal with the loss properly. And from what I heard through mutual acquaintances, she started to see how off track she got with the psychic nonsense, cutting ties with them, and focusing on real healing. It gave me peace knowing she's getting help without me in the middle, easing the guilt I felt about leaving her in a bad spot. On my end, I took time to reflect during quiet evenings alone or jogs in the park, realizing the age gap and her baggage were red flags I ignored because the early fun clouded my judgment. And it pushed me to focus on myself, like joining a book club where I met someone my age who's into the same hikes and laughs, turning into a low-key relationship that's fun and normal, with simple dates like grabbing burgers without any hidden agendas. It's good overall. I'm out of the weirdness, feeling more aware of boundaries and spotting unhealthy patterns early, with solid friends and a new connection that doesn't come with ghosts or rituals, leaving me happier, more grounded, and ready for whatever's next without looking back.